Looking, not just listening. Whitefellas and Countrymen talk in different ways. Whitefellas use just words, but Countrymen talk more with action and showing with their face. Action, face, and words are all important for Countrymen. Whitefellas mainly use just words. The way Countrymen can use words can be different too. They use volume to show that they say is serious. But sometimes Whitefellas think they are angry. Whitefellas are not taught like Countrymen, who grow up from a young age being taught to learn by watching. Watch people's faces and their body action, as well as listen to their words to know what they are saying. Watching to know if people understand. When Countrymen are talking, the person who is saying something watches the person listening to know if they understand. If the person listening does not understand, they show by their face they don't understand. But Whitefellas expect the person that does not understand to speak up and say that they don't understand. They need to know that Countrymen would be shamed if they spoke up, especially in front of others. You might need to explain to Whitefellas. You need to watch faces to see if they understand. Countrymen will not speak up like Whitefellas. Talking polite way. When Countrymen are quiet, they are maybe thinking hard to understand, or they don't know that person well enough to answer, or maybe they are saying no in polite way. Whitefellas need to understand when someone is quiet, it can mean different things. If you are helping Whitefellas to talk to Countrymen, you may need to explain why they are not talking. They won't know by themselves. Big problems can come if Whitefellas don't know why that person is not talking. They may think the person is saying yes when they are really saying no, or they just don't understand. How it can feel working with Whitefellas. Being rude. Whitefellas often seem to be rude by talking too hard. They do not know Countrymen show respect by talking slow and soft when talking to new people or about new things. When you are confused by a Whitefella who seems to want to be friendly but often talks hard, they may not know how to talk in Countrymen's respectful ways. Ask them if they want to learn more about right ways to talk to Countrymen. Sometimes you need to talk hard to Whitefellas for them to listen to what you're saying. If you wait for them to learn to talk like countrymen, you're going to wait too long. They think roll is enough. Whitefellas think that just knowing your job description is all they need to work with you. They think they don't have to get to know you to work easier. Just remember, this does not mean they don't like you. It's just the way whitefellas think about working together. But countrymen like to get to know people to work easier. Workplaces that welcome countrymen. It can be hard when you work in a workplace that only has posters and other information made for white people. It can feel like that place does not welcome you. Ask them if they want to learn more about right ways to talk to countrymen. Ask if you can put up posters that show countrymen and countrymen's art. Asking for things. When countrymen often ask for things, the person who is asked need to say yes or no. But whitefellas have different ways about asking for things. They think it is rude to be asked for too much or asked too often. It feels like humbug and they get upset. They think that people should only ask for big things if they know them really well. They expect others to hold back for asking for things till they know them well. They expect people to only ask for small things for a long time. Countrymen are more sharing. They can ask for bigger things in a short time. Work troubles. Countrymen are expected to share. If they have a car, family expect they should drive them places. They don't know to do that will get them into trouble from work. But if it's an elder and they say no, they may get big trouble later for being disrespectful. You may have to say to whitefella bosses that you may have to break whitefella work rules sometimes, or they can't work. If whitefella workplaces are too strict, it makes it hard for countrymen to work for them. They have too many troubles with family. Or you may have to explain this to whitefella bosses and ask them to say no to family for you. You don't get trouble from family that way. Asking questions. Countrymen show respect for elders by not asking questions. If they are looking for help from an elder, asking questions challenges that elder's knowledge. But whitefella elders often like people to ask them questions, so they know if they are on the right track with the help they are giving. When countrymen show respect by not asking questions, it confuses the whitefellas. They can't tell if they are telling the right story. Ask whitefellas questions. They won't feel disrespected. They will like it. It helps them know the right story to tell you. Roundabout way. Countrymen often work in roundabout way, joking and giving hints, not straight on. Whitefellas often don't know those little hints are really important. If the white man does not listen to the hints, it does not mean they are ignoring you. They just don't know how to understand roundabout way, joking and giving hints. You may need to tell them the story straight on if white man's face looks lost. You may need to teach whitefellas about roundabout way, sometimes joking way, or saying serious things. Whitefellas often don't understand that countrymen complain through roundabout way. They are being polite. They may think when whitefellas don't seem to listen to their hints, they are ignoring you. But it doesn't mean they don't care. They just don't know that way of saying serious things in roundabout ways. Whitefellas talking bad about countrymen. Sometimes in whitefellas are not used to having countrymen around the workplace. They talk in disrespectful ways about countrymen. They don't know this will upset countrymen who hear that. It can make you feel bad and culturally unsafe. You can be shocked about the wrong ways that some whitefellas think about countrymen. You might think if they say this about countrymen behind their back, what will they say about me? Talk to a supervisor about how you feel when staff talk about countrymen like that in the workplace. Usually, whitefellas do this because they don't understand all the things that happen of countrymen's lives. It is a sign they need cultural education.